Let's just jump right in. Today, we are completely dismantling the modern pop culture version of Stoicism. You know the one. The cliche that being a Stoic just means having a stiff upper lip, repressing your feelings, and gritting your teeth through pain. Well, scratch that. Our goal in this explainer is to map out the actual, deeply interconnected worldview of the ancient Stoics. We're going to look at it not as some cheap life hack, but for what it truly is, a massive, incredibly intricate architectural structure. Here is our blueprint for this structure. We'll start with the concept of the self-supporting edifice. Then we'll explore the three classical pillars: logic, semantics, and epistemology, physics, God and fate, and ethics and indifferent things. Finally, we'll bring it all together by looking at the passions and the ultimate ideal, the sage. Section 1. The self-supporting edifice, an organic structure. This concept perfectly captures how the ancient Stoics viewed their own philosophy. The Stoic system isn't just a linear step-by-step ladder where you learn A and then you move on to B. It's actually an organic, self-supporting edifice. Think of it like the load-bearing walls of a massive cathedral. No single part comes before any other. They literally all hold each other up to create this unified, unshakable worldview. You can't just knock out one wall without the whole structure fundamentally collapsing. To give you a better mental map of this building, the Stoics divided their curriculum into three core structural pillars. First up is logic, which includes ontology, the study of being. Second, there's physics, meaning the study of the natural world and the cosmos. And third, ethics, the study of how to actually live. The absolute crucial takeaway here: you cannot truly practice Stoic ethics without understanding the physical universe, and you definitely can't understand the physical universe without the logic to make sense of it. Section 2. Logic, semantics, and epistemology, the secure foundation. Let's look at how this builds our first load-bearing wall. The bedrock of this logic is the Stoic ontology of body. They made this incredibly bold, uncompromising claim: to exist is to be a body, period. In other words, reality is strictly physical. If something exists, it has a material presence. This pillar maps out complex categorizations of existence, substance, and the very genera of reality. For the Stoics, there were no floating, abstract metaphysical realms. Everything was grounded in the physical reality of the body. To keep this structure standing, the Stoics relied heavily on the dialectician. You can think of the dialectician as the structural engineer of the entire Stoic system. Their job required a total mastery of division and definition, right alongside some seriously complex logical analysis of arguments. They were the ones obsessively ensuring that every single concept was perfectly defined, categorized, and logically sound. This stopped any conceptual cracks from forming in the foundation. But how do we actually know anything is true? Well, the Stoics mapped out a very clear epistemological journey for this. Step 1 starts with everyday impressions, just the basic raw data we get from our senses. But step 2 is where the magic happens. That's identifying a specific class of impressions that achieve absolute cognitive certainty, stuff you literally cannot doubt. Step 3 is taking those highly specific, rock-solid impressions and using them as the sole secure foundation for all philosophical proof. Section 3. Physics, God, and fate, the cosmic order. Building right on top of that physical logic we just talked about, the Stoics believed in what they called the active principle. They viewed the entire cosmos as a material body. But, and this is key, it wasn't just dead, inert matter. It was thoroughly permeated by an active, intelligent force. Depending on the context, they refer to this animating force as God, reason, or even breath. The universe itself is essentially a living, rational entity. And this living universe operates on a very strict cosmic order. The Stoics saw the world as a unique, finite organism. Fascinatingly, they also believed it was eternally recurrent, meaning the universe goes through these massive cycles, ending and then repeating itself in the exact same way. And the most important part for their ethics is that this entire cosmic cycle is characterized by an overall moral perfection. The universe is never random, it is perfectly ordered by that active, intelligent reason. Now, this sets up a really beautiful philosophical tension. On one side, we have fate, the strict predetermination of literally every event by an unbreakable causal chain set by the cosmic order. On the other side, we have human agency. So how on earth do Stoics reconcile a strictly predetermined universe with true moral responsibility? The answer is that while you absolutely cannot control the external events of that causal chain, you maintain total agency over your internal judgments and how you choose to react to that fate. Section 4. Ethics and Indifferent Things. Agreement with Nature. For a Stoic, the ultimate ethical goal is defined pretty simply: living in agreement with nature. But keep in mind the physics we just covered. Nature here doesn't mean taking nice walks in the woods. It means achieving perfect concord with the preordained scheme of the cosmos. Individual goodness and true happiness are only found when your internal reason perfectly aligns with the grand, predetermined reason of the universe itself. Now, take a look at the doctrine of indifference. The Stoics viewed conventional goods, like health and wealth, or bad things like sickness, as morally indifferent. Having money doesn't make you a good person, and being sick doesn't make you a bad one. They do act as natural guidelines for deliberate choice. Obviously, we prefer health over sickness, but true moral goodness comes exclusively from living in agreement with the universe's rational nature. Everything else is just indifferent. Section 5. The Passions and the Sage, the Ultimate Ideal. Chrysippus, who was one of the most brilliant Stoic thinkers, gave us this incredible intellectualist analysis of human emotion. He stated that the passions are actually erroneous judgments or false opinions that can be corrected by the application of reason. This is a massive paradigm shift. Passions aren't just these mysterious, overwhelming feelings washing over you that you have to repress. They are literal cognitive mistakes. When you get furiously angry, your logic pillar has failed. You've made a false judgment about what's actually good or bad, and you can fix it with reason. And if you can actually pull that off, if you manage to correct all your false judgments, perfectly align your logic, understand the physics of the cosmos, and live exactly in agreement with nature, you reach the ideal of the sage. This is an unbelievably demanding standard. The idealized wise man perfectly embodies this entire philosophical edifice, and as a result, is entirely free from passions. They experience rational joy, for sure, but they never suffer from those turbulent, erroneous emotions that plague the rest of us. Which leaves us with a pretty profound question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. Looking at this immense, interconnected architecture of the Stoic system, is the incredibly demanding standard of the sage, being entirely free from those erroneous judgments we call passions, actually achievable for a human being? Or is it just an impossible ideal, a North Star meant only to guide us toward a better, more rational life? Think about that the next time you catch yourself reacting to the chaos of the world. Thanks for learning with us today.